So today in particular we're coming here because we want to inform the public, mainly the people that come in and out of here, the people that walk by on the street that know someone who's been killed in hospital or died in hospital, but with suspicious circumstances that didn't sit well with the family, where they thought, well, why is this person suddenly died? Or why was my loved one put on nil by mouth, starved to death with no food and no water? Why would this happen? Liverpool Care Pathway is illegal since 2010. And Liverpool Care Pathway is the one that said no fluids, no drink, no water, and no food. So this starvation. Now, why would you starve someone except to kill them? I asked the doctors this because Eric wasn't scheduled for surgery, so it's not like he was being starved so that he could have surgery the next morning. Also, he was fine with eating. I fed him almost every day, and he was swallowing fine. He had a huge appetite. He loved to eat, and I brought him the foods he liked because he didn't like the hospital foods. So people might know of somebody like that, where they were okay one week, and then suddenly the next week they're starving them. And you ask, well, why? And they told me, well, Eric's not well. We're helping him get better. How are you going to help a man who's already underweight and dehydrated get better by starving him of food and fluids? So we say enough is enough. We're creating a national database where people can register suspicious deaths of their elderlies who died in NHS care. We want to get to the bottom of this and put forward this huge list of people. On record, it says there's 459,000 elderly that die every year. Now that is that goal, the target number, coincidentally, in the government's palliative care funding review goal for the palliative care funding from 2010 to 2030. So it's right up around 450,000 deaths happen every year of the elderly. Now, the post-mortems aren't happening though. So if you think, how can the government get away with killing so many people and say, oh, they were elderly, they died a natural death, oh, we had to put them on end of care treatment because they couldn't swallow anymore, because they can say whatever they want, but somehow with the elderly they can get away with murder. Now, if that was a 16-year-old, there would be parents around. The 16-year-old's word would be taken as testimony, and the 16-year-olds would be listened to if they said, I want to eat some food. But the elderly are treated as the unwanted. They're treated as if they're not of sound mind, as if they have no right to any opinion or any say in their care. Many of the people that have talked to us have said that their loved one that was killed in a hospital didn't even know they were on palliative end-of-life care. So these people are just being pushed down a conveyor belt and told what day they're going to die, and off they go. So we say that has to stop. Everybody has a right to live and the right to choose how long they want to stay around, and stay around that long and let themselves die naturally. So we're doing this database. We're setting up the website now that's going to be a dedicated website just for this action. And we're also going to be calling on the MPs to set up a medical bill of rights for the elderly. Clearly, so many elderly are taken advantage of inside the hospital and not listened to when they voice their opinions. Eric wanted to leave the hospital for 3 months. On day 16, I think it was, I have in my notes, on day 16 he wanted to leave. So why wasn't he listened to? Because they bring in the Mental Capacity Act. So the Mental Capacity Act says if a doctor says that that person's not of sound mind, they can rule out anything the person says, and you can just take over and say, oh, he's not of sound mind, and disregard his opinion. So some people create a living will, and a living will is one way of getting around it, because in your living will you can say what you want to happen when you go into hospital, that you do not want to go on forced end-of-life care, but that you want to self-determine and that you will be listened to. You want to live your life in full. You do not want to be put on an end-of-life care pathway and killed. So we have to get some medical bill of right passed through Parliament so the elderly population is protected, because we have, every time we're out here, we have hundreds of people. We've got a Telegram group that says end of life care or murder. Go on to Telegram. So Telegram's an app on your phone. We are creating a website. We'll announce that next week. But for this week, you can go on Telegram and search end of life care or murder. And that you'll see, there's only a couple hundred people on it at the moment, but we just set it up this week. But it's growing and growing and growing. So many people have these stories. This is a geriatric genocide, or you can call it a democide, because a certain particular part of the population is being targeted. We're here today to talk about the death of Eric Levy and how we can prevent the deaths of many other thousands and hundreds of thousands of elderly people by holding these doctors responsible.